All right, this is the Afreeca versus KSV Game 2. Make sure that, I'm going to need the game set to ×2. So Afreeca just pulled off a really well-piloted poke composition against KSV, and I thought it was really excellent to watch. Where's S-VOD? S-VOD leave Afreeca? I don't see him in the booth. Where's S-VOD? Hold on here. Hold on. I gotta pause. Hold on. Hold on. Where's S-VOD? Harsh language. Oh, he's the head coach. Alright, so he's Kangdoknim. Okay. Zephyr and Kam. Okay. People that don't know who S-VOD is, he is basically one of the main reasons that we use the word macro, the way that it, exists in present day. Not entire. I mean, he's the godfather of macro in Korean esports. Okay, so starting things off, Afreeca banning away Malzahar away from Crown. Kalista being banned away by KSV. Let's see if KSV actually goes for a Zoe ban here. Camille banned away from Keen. I think that's actually one of his most played champions. Could be wrong there. Sejuani banned away by Afreeca. Haru is actually in this game. And Rise being banned away. So Kog'Maw banned away last. Now does Afreeca go for Zoe again? That's the big question. Azir's open too. Instead they opt for a Kha'Zix, and I feel like that's really weak. Hands over way too much control to the enemy team. Varus. Now Ezreal is actually on the table, but then if the enemy team goes AP top, AP mid, then Ezreal doesn't have the luxury to just go Iceborne. Varus Braum picked up. Afreeca want the game plan for themselves this time. Ow. And now, with this basically, I mean, Varus does deal magic damage, so it depends on who the jungler will be for KSV, but you can assume that Anar is coming, so that's one component to the AD matched. This lets you ramp up into the Iceborne, which then plays into Kha'Zix and Ezreal, spiking. And then depending on who your mid laner is, things can get really out of control. Now, the Gnar and the Braum, and then a ban away from Taric. So they don't want Afreeca to play a control-y game using the Taric to dissuade engages from the Braum and the Gnar. Zac banned away by Afreeca. Azir is still open, but they could have traded one for the other. But it looks like they just... Or, well, no, they could have tried to give away... Or they could have tried to give away Zac and then get themselves Azir, but because KSV actually has first pick... they could just go Azir and then your jungler's already selected, so then you feel bad, unless your name's Alex Ich and you play Kha'Zix in mid. Way back when. Zoe ends up being picked up. Not a traditional answer to Zoe. Usually it's Kassadin. Kassadin, very slippery. Able to bounce back on her. Dodge. He's able to dodge her Sleepy Bubble troubles. And Galio and Alistar. So I just gotta say that this team composition is really weird. So the Kha'Zix is basically allowed to power farm for a little bit while this top laner just scales up. Then at 6, they want to make Sparks fly with Kha'Zix. Now the mid lane dynamic, if Spirit can prank for Kuro a few times, that's really good. Haru benefits from a stalled out game, just as a Jax jungle. Obviously, he's on red side now. This is one of those champions that if Cuvée is getting an edge over Keen, they can definitely look to dive him. But the problem is that if Kuro, even if he's shoved in or something, he can just come to Keen's aid, and then things can actually get dicey. So, pre-level 5 or something, maybe there's some opportunity there if something ends up really going wrong in the early stages. Obviously, Zoe... she doesn't really slow down. She just keeps getting more obnoxious. the way that you play against her becomes similar, basically, at a certain point. But still, Zoe doesn't slow down. Varus, exceptionally powerful. And he's also pretty good. As long as he doesn't get caught out by the engagement here, he's going to have a pretty nice time just raining down a parade onto Afreeca. So a lot of the pressure this game is on Kramer, in addition to Afreeca's ability to set up with the Galio and the Kha'Zix. But if the question is that you're picking Kha'Zix, why not just have Camille? I feel like Camille is just going to offer you a little bit more. And this is what we're starting to see throughout the VODs, is that do you want Kha'Zix to be your power farm AD physical jungler? Not really in a lot of cases. Jax is just going to fill that role better. Shyvana is also just, probably the best power farm, keep scaling champion, depending on who your mid laner and top laner is. Rengar's kind of there with Kha'Zix, right? But then Camille's the oddball out. Camille's the champion that she doesn't slow down. She's really, really obnoxious. She plays very similar to Jarvan 4, and she offers the same level of assassin potential. So it's a little bit intriguing that they didn't go with Camille here with the Galio. Instead, they opt for the Kha'Zix. And the trade-off here is that if Camille doesn't get the ball rolling, she's not as efficient as Kha'Zix at the 1 and 2, like the time when Kha'Zix would spike. If you compare Camille at the same exact timing in a game, Kha'Zix is going to be slightly more usable, assuming that the game state is completely even. And so maybe they're trying to just line this up with Ezreal and look to explode from here. KSV on the other side, I mean, Cuvée, really, really important. Haru, really important on the top half. I mean, Crown should be immortal in mid lane, and then a lot of pressure is on Ruler and Core JJ. So let's just get right into the game. Wait, Camille was banned? Oh God. Coach, I'm a coach, by the way. God. Oh God. Why wasn't I even seeing that? Ugh. Oh, that's ugly. That's really ugly. Coach, by the way, 1010, hello. Thanks. God, alright, I missed it. I missed the ban. It doesn't change anything that I just talked about, in a way, like about the champions, how they interact, etc. It does obviously change the fact that Afreeca couldn't pick it, which, I mean, that's on me. So I made an error there. But still, everything that I talked about in regards to the champion, how it would fit, etc. is pretty good. It'd also be interesting to see if they would even pick it if it was available. I acknowledged it, and then it blanked. Because my mind is just elsewhere, like going through memories. Okay. All right. So Kha'Zix started off on Wraiths, gets the red, and then he pings that he's heading over to his blue immediately. And then again, both of his laners, they do get shoved in. He could just get the Scuttle Crab after... Okay. It must be nice. Must be nice. He could have just gotten the Scuttle Crab right away and then retreated back into his jungle. Then if he ends up encountering Jax, though, Jax could just stay on top of him and follow him while his laners have priority. Could just latch onto him. Instead, Haru now actually going to be the one to get the Scuttle Crab away. And interesting. If Haru had no intention to actually do anything or gank, he could have just actually gone for the Gromp. Really like the gank path that Haru's trying to take here. He's coming in for a lane gank. Crown exerting a ton of pressure in mid. Also be noted that Kuro has Electrocute on Galio, not Spellbook. So he's almost out of fuel again. Very low on mana. And then Crown's just going to be able to come back to mid lane. Doesn't even have to use Spellbook because of how much lane domination. So again, the stuff to look for is the mid-game explosiveness that comes out of Gangplank, Kha'Zix, and Galio. But the things that we're looking for is, how much pressure relief can Spirit actually give to Kuro? Because if Kuro just keeps getting perma-shoved in and that turret keeps taking enormous amounts of damage, eventually you're gonna fall behind the Jax inside of the jungle, and your Galio is gonna be permanently locked up in mid lane and unable to really do anything. So it's gonna continue to just further enable the laning phase to progress, and then your team composition slowly falls behind. Gangplank ultimate comes out. Let's look at this one more time. So you see where Tushin is, and then they just go. And you can tell that they were really not expecting this at all. They pick up a nice kill onto Ruler, and that's actually really, really big because we just talked about the pressure that's coming in mid lane. So they need to find a way to get kills through other means. Crown finally gets his blue buff. He still has that spellbook available. Hasn't swapped it out for anything. And KSV now has a pretty big wave crashing. Gets some turret damage. And the game is kind of stalled out right now. So Zoe is the insurance policy. They're going to hand off the blue to Kuro. Lost chapter now completed for Crown in addition to the Mercury Treads. Haru comes up to top again. He's going to go to the golems and just stay in close proximity to top lane. Now, these are the openings where Kuro, he can look to make plays. Like, he has control in top, but instead he's just going to recall, and this is primarily just because Spirit is not anywhere on the map yet. They can't do anything top lane. They need Spirit to be in position. But now, with the blue buff, with the sustain, having all the HP, the ability to just wave clear things, they can start to try to make something happen. Big chunk comes down onto Haru. Spirit now has priority on the right-hand side. Not able to pick up the kill onto Crown. But with all this pressure now that is in mid, the tides are shifted. And you can see that Ruler, he has a broken stopwatch in bottom. Keen has his ultimate available to him. Yeah, here we go. These are the plays. And they all start with Spirit helping Kuro get control of that mid lane so that the Galio's unlocked. This is what, we were watching the SKT game, and they failed to do that. They failed to pressure and unlock Faker in that game and give him the pressure relief that he needed so that he can just move into the river and look to make plays. Because it creates such enormous amounts of pressure. It forces the opposing team to begin to ward their own jungle, to know exactly where Spirit is going to be at all times. Waiting for Galio to have his ultimate again. Keen's going to have his ultimate again pretty soon as well. And this is basically going to be the rinse, wash, repeat. It's basically on KSV to weather the storm for now, get out of this stage of the game, and then it becomes a lot easier to play around it. And then Jax he starts ramping up. Zoe keeps ramping. And then Galio is going to begin to stagnate. Ezreal going to stagnate after a few items. And then really the last hope is going to be the Gangplank. So this right here this is one of the trade-offs, I guess, when thinking about like Camille or something. Obviously, Camille wouldn't be able to approach like this. This is really scary, and it's a lot of pressure. They get the flash out of Crown. Seems like there was actually some miscommunication, unless it's intentional, because you see that Tushin's coming up, but Spirit is all the way to the left, and he's clicking away. And this could be intentional, so not to give away that Tushin's about to come. Because if Spirit doesn't leave entirely, if he just stays right here, Crown probably backs up even further. But now, this might be misleading Spirit to actually think that he's safe, so they can look to get a kill on him. They use the Gangplank ultimate, they actually take down Crown, and getting this mid-tier 1 turret is super, super, super big. Galio ultimate up. Gangplank ult almost up. So now if you're KSV, again, just keep the wards. Try to get as many wards around River as you can. Control wards. Green wards. You have to know exactly Spirit's location. As long as you know Spirit's location, you can shut down the combo play. And you can make it to mid-game. Gangplank ult being used defensively. So, in a way, that's a pretty big win. To get the Gangplank ult out, and that's a pretty big part of their major combo. If Afreeca could somehow have actually just gotten mid-tier 1 turret before KSV would be able to get it up in top, that'd be pretty good. Reaching a point where eventually Haru and Kyuve are just going to be able to dive Keen, and he doesn't have his ultimate available. Galio with Abyssal Mask and Haunting Guys, so a lot of damage that can come out of him. And he also has Electrocute, so keep that in mind. Looking for a one-shot. Spirit coming for a solo onto Herald. KSV just looking for wards. This time they're actually taking advantage of being able to get it into Spirit's jungle. That's actually one of the common ways to play against Evelynn. Normally you ward her camps. When she clears them, you're, made aware of where she is. Kuro really, really tanky. And Crown just able to fade. Dying right there. They weren't able to pick up a kill onto Kuro. He is very, very tanky. So he's able to hold off Zoe for now, and then later on into the game, he'll end up trying to probably absorb some of the shots that maybe teammates can't dodge. And then it's going to be on Crown to look for holes in Kramer's positioning, Spirit's, Keen's. Keen a little bit less so. He's going to have that Sterax, but it's going to be about trying to pop it off of him. And then KSV is probably going to have to go into a 1-3-1, but they're going to have to coordinate it around whenever Kuro doesn't have his ult. Summoning the Herald. Afreeca gonna be able to get the first turret of the game. They're pushing on 4-2. Gangplank ult comes out. You can just see he is so tanky. They both are. Tushin and Kuro weren't quite able to get the mid-tier 2 on that go, but they're gonna be able to pick it up right here. Pick themselves up 2 turrets. They're in a gold lead. Now, if we're just looking at team compositions, Afreeca, they're in a pretty okay spot. They're really, really powerful right now. Zoe has not had the time to ramp up yet. Varus still at just 1.5 items. Gnar not really offering that much of a threat. Gangplank able to resist against him for now. Now it's pretty difficult for KSV to coordinate against this. Again, they have to play around Kuro's ultimate and utilize proper lane setups. It's so difficult to take down Kuro. He's so big. With that taunt, it makes it so that Crown and Haru can't actually do anything to him. Now Kramer's actually down here. He has the red buff and he has Iceborne Gauntlet. They don't end up doing anything. And it's just a waiting game. For KSV, it's a waiting game until Zoe gets stronger and until Gnar gets stronger. That's what it's all about right now. Basically, priority is permanently given over to Afreeca. That's one of the problems with Kha'Zix. We also see it happen with Rengar. We talked about it with Jet. Oh, that was a really, really nice snipe by Kramer. It was a really, really, really clutch snipe. KSV still, they come out way bigger there. Haru going to be able to get a turret. He gets a lot of solo farm. You can just see, he doesn't quite have the damage to just completely eviscerate Crown in one go. So, it's one of the problems that they're going to encounter right now. Because Afreeca, they're looking for a fight that doesn't get them enough benefit. They need to use their Galio ult, and they need to just use their ultimates more wisely if they want to really just get advantages. I mean, they can just allow the game to keep going. Let Gangplank get even bigger. Let him get to his Sterax. Ezreal just spiked, however. Yeah. They weren't able to get anything there. So these are KSV's openings. These are where, when everyone's on cooldown, you use Zoe to try to poke in. You use the Qs from Varus, even though they're not going to deal that much damage. You know, fighting over this area is super important for KSV's team composition. That's basically the, you know, you force them into the choke, Zoe becomes stronger, Varus becomes stronger, Braum is stronger. Afreeca's ultimate's about to be up again soon. And I mean, if you're KSV, what they're doing right now is pretty good. They could just put Jax. They can 1-3-1. The risk with the 1-3-1 is if you're not set up vision, like there's a razor's, you know, there's a razor thin line to walk. Against the 1-3-1, it's ideal, but if you don't have the vision set up against Spirit, things can get really, really ugly. So their two options are the 0-4-1 and it's the 1-3-1. Although unfortunately for them, 1-3-1 slightly weaker on red. But Afreeca doesn't have a great team composition at like matching it, but they do have a way of like playing around it. As long as they have the vision set up themselves, they can basically also just match it with 1-3-1. You send Galio to one of the side lanes. Galio is going to be able to hold Jax. You send Galio to wherever Jax is, and you keep Gangplank wherever Gnar is, and you just hold it that way. And then it's on the rest of your teammates to hold off against Zoe and Varus, but I mean, that's going to be skill in and of itself, and then you look for an error on, you know, Crown Ruler and Core JJ's part. Juve, lots of damage on Takeen, ends up actually popping the Mega. And so now Afreeca, I mean, Mountain Drake's coming up. They're going to be in the driver's seat to be able to get it. This is a spot where 1-3-1ing with the Galio up in top lane for them isn't that bad. They get the Mountain Drake, and then after they get the Mountain Drake, that's when they should probably just be looking to control the left-hand side, concede bottom tier 1 to Gnar, force KSV to come into the Baron. The problem is if they start the Baron and Keen's not actually there, look at him. I mean, both top laners are monsters. They're level 18. Gangplank's 4 items. Gangplank has to be there for everything to be effective. They need to really just give up this bottom tier 1. They're not getting any value out of it. They're losing out positionally. It's just a never-ending stalemate. They end up picking up a kill under Ruler. And now they should actually be able to utilize this to get mid-tier, mid-inhibitor. Mid-tier 3 mid-inhibitor. Yeah. Now they can fall back. They can get the mountain. Keen has constant priority down in bottom. They back up through the red side jungle. They send Spirit, to get the mountain. 1 mana. And the reason that they do it this way is obviously just because it dissuades the opponent from trying to just rush down Baron or something. You can see KSV, super, super, super strong. Still had that stopwatch. Spirit comes in. End up picking up a kill onto KSV. And now that should be converted into a Baron. If they just recall Keen immediately, they should just be able to teleport him to Baron and then use barrels and stuff. Get the Baron. All that you have to do is fade the Zoe stuff. Now I understand like what it looked like they were doing. It looked like they were just gonna have Keen stay bottom and get the mid tier or the bottom tier 1, which he ended up getting, but it's not as good of a capture. Like the only outs that KSV still have in this game is Jax going to like 5 items and Zoe going to 5-6 items. Those are the only outs left. Because then Zoe can still turn a game by hitting, Spirit or Kramer or Tushin with Sleepy Bubble Trouble. And I mean, yes, they have Quicksilver Sashes, but the cooldowns are just so short. It's like you shouldn't let your opponent get there. They have more of an obligation to continue to accelerate the game at this stage because it plays against your opponent's out. They even had the Mountain Drake. Now they get the Baron. Tushin ends up going down. Nothing else really happening. KSV trying to get bottom tier 1. That's going to be completely fine. Oh, unfortunate. Didn't get the wave right there. So now all that they have to do... 1-1-3 is okay, because they have the teleport and they're going to have the Gangplank ult available. 1-1-3 isn't that bad. You plant the Galio in mid lane. He's able to run left or right and help out whoever, might be attempted to be killed. But the thing is that in order for KSV to actually threaten Keen, you would have to send like Haru and KSV, realistically. And if that's happening, then the other 3 actually can't hold a turret against Kramer, Kuro, Spirit, and Tushin. So you would just probably cast the Gangplank ultimate, try to live as long as you can, and just be a thorn in their side, and then bust open the bottom turret or something. A little bit of a weird rotation here. They could have just kept the 1-1-3 up and then gone into 1-4-0, and then they could have just looked to capture mid-inhibitor, and then let Gangplank continue to do his thing up in top, and then they can actually go from 4 mid to 5 top, and then capture top tier 2, and then back up, and then reset. And then after they reset, they can end up just going 0-1-4, keep Gangplank with the team at that point in the game, even if he has teleport, even if he has his ultimate, it's basically irrelevant. Plant Galio in mid lane with the super minions, and you have 4 people run up bottom, and then you just walk all the minions into them. You clear out all the vision with sweepers, pink wards, etc. Fall back, you capture the Elder, and then you push up and end the game. That would be the most ideal, I think. So a little bit of lost opportunity there. Elder Dragon's up. And it's really weird how they find themselves in this situation, given how much tempo and control they just had for the last few minutes. Now they're bringing the fight, but you can see Haru gets onto the backline. Kramer, though, he's just really tanky. But like these are the outs. They end up getting a kill onto Ruler. Now they're going to try to bring down Kuro. They get that. Kramer not able to do anything else there. And hopefully we're going to get a replay of the fight. So we just take a look at this. Looks like they're out of position. Going for this fight is game ending if they get a clean ace or like a clean kill, right? So, does he have flash? Because if he has flat, I don't know why not flat. Okay. This fight is game ending. The thing is that you're running into the Braum, right? And then you're running into the Zoe. So if you can't get onto them 100%, things get a little ugly. You see Spirit over here, and you see what Crown ends up doing? Ends up actually gutting him. And just look at how the rest of the team fight ends up unfolding. So like, if you're going to make an engagement like that, you have to make sure that it counts. So I don't entirely know why Tushin was so hesitant to not just make the engage count. Especially because when you look at the angle of approach, right? Let's watch the team fight in real time. You know where QV is coming in from, and then you know that Spirit's right here. So he has flash, so I don't know why they don't just make it count and hit this flash. And then Galio comes up, and then Kramer just goes to here, and then hits from here, and then Spirit should get an execution. I don't think there's any way out from this. Like, yes, Haru is behind, but you also knew that Haru was coming from behind. I think they knew. Thought they... What? They just saw Jax was... What? Yeah, they even ping it. So Kuro got knocked up too. Kuro should have probably just been staying back. He didn't need to be up front. And then the opportunity to use his ultimate is lost. So like, if Kuro is just further back and they can't stop his ultimate, and then Tushin runs up like this with Spirit, I mean, this just looks like it's a really good wombo, but the ult should be probably here. Because they're not going to run into you. The ultimate could be placed in such a manner that it like pincers them. The fight will probably still be bloody, but it's a little bit weird how unclean it was. Oh, that's the replay again. We come back into live, and Afreeca ends up picking up the Baron. At this point, they just have to thread the needle. KSV is actually holding on. I mean, Jax is a lot tankier. That he's not the kind of damage Jax that would be annoying. And that actually makes it more problematic for Spirit and Kane to deal with him. He doesn't need to be dealing a lot of damage because people can't stay in duel with him. So right now, KSV. Oh, apparently... Oh. Oh god, I missed this. I am so sorry, Twitch chat. Oh, it's on the bottom right, that's why. Okay. So we see the positioning. Looks like Kramer is coming in. Keen's right there. And then KSV. I mean, they're kiting backwards. But Afreeca, I mean, that's awkward. Okay, they replay it. Zoe comes in, hits Tushin, and then Crown just gets completely pulverized. This is really... I mean, once Crown goes down, you lose the ability to just kite backwards. So after they lose the Elder, they're going to end up losing the Baron. It's 45 minutes. This should be really easy to close. The death cap on Galio, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about that. Death cap on Galio obviously is going to hurt. And yes, it is just about, you know, playing into that electrocute and offering that one shot. But the only person that you're going to be one-shotting is going to be Varus and Zoe. Now they're having difficulty cracking into the base. You see the bottom wave though? They just have to wait on that. Wait on the bottom wave. Being a little bit impatient. We saw this actually happen in NA and EU. Might be just be getting a little bit excited to potentially take down Samsung 2-0. So because of their impatience, they end up losing out on their ammo to keep up the push and persist on. So really unfortunate. All they had to do was just wait a little bit and then just juggle between two lanes. Absolutely no reason to have Galio with the main team right now. You can just have him ult in. You can just easily do 0-4-1s or, you know, 0-1-4s, etc. No one is going to bring Galio down. Afreeca showing an inability to know how to close out the game. It's actually a similar problem that we've seen with some other teams. Not juggling the lanes properly in order to close. They just keep shoving in waves at different intervals, and it makes it really difficult to get into the base. This is really, really, really weird to see coming out of Afreeca. So they're going to wait on another Baron. Oh god. Oh, well that was... Okay, what was that? Oof. I mean, this is basically a dream fight. Kha'Zix ends up taking down Crown. Kramer kites away. I mean, wait, what? You win. What? Oh. If QV would have just went down, that would have... Oh, that would have been so big for them. So, I mean, the whole startup to that fight was really weird. Gangplank's now officially at 6 items, Ezreal as well. You could probably even have Galio go to 6, to be completely honest. Okay. So now Afreeca shove in. They get the inhibitor. They back up. Baron's up. They're going to go and pick that up. Now, if you're Afreeca, I mean, you try to fight Baron without fighting Baron. You try to just run to the minion waves and kill them. See what QV is doing? He goes up to top. Doesn't go to the minion wave first. Instead, he just actually takes the golems. He should... Okay. What? Should have just killed the minion wave. What? Afreeca's already shown an inability to properly manage 2 lanes, let alone 3. Elder coming up in 20 seconds. If Afreeca wants to be super safe, they can just back up and get that. They get into the base. Nice usage of the Gangplank call. They get the second inhibitor. Now all they have to do is just bounce to the other lane. They're going to recall, probably pick up elixirs. Spirit's already up there. And I like how he didn't just push it immediately. That would have meant that a lot of the minions would have just ran to their death. QV would have been able to run up, kill a lot of the minions. Now instead, because he didn't push it immediately, they get here, they buff the cannon. This is really, really good. That's good lane manipulation, or lane coordination. Here we go, the final. Oh, Baron ran out. Gangplank ultimate to open the floodgates. They're in. And, okay, QV never got to go ulti. Tushin's really low on HP. They have the 7v5 enabled. Now KSV, it's all about trying to just hold on for them. I wonder if Jax could just sell his Ninja Tabby for Dead Man's Plate. Because once he's onto them, the Rage passive is going to be enough anyway. Really, really, really sloppy fight. They didn't need to force it right here. Tushin goes in, and you see the Galio and the Gangplank ultimate. Crown has his Zanyas. They end up getting Crown, and Keen almost goes down. And look at Haru. No one left to really help him out, or to help out against him. And then KSV ends up staying alive. And this is, I mean, this is sort of problematic, right? Because you just look at the HP value of everyone, right? Ruler, no one's even touching him. And this is what we talked about in the champ select, right? If he's able to just do this, it is so obnoxious. Like, you get Crown, no one dealt with Haru, Haru ended up living. There's probably a world where Haru goes down there, but that's probably going to be the best case scenario that they end up getting. They can't take that dive just trying to kill Crown, especially not when he has Zanyas. Because you can just see, no one's getting onto rulers. And they have so many, they even have minions sort of helping them out in a way. (7v5) still enabled. We're going to have another Baron for Afreeca. And these are the games to learn the most from. These are the games where you can really identify like what is going on. Oh, I'm sorry. I said Kramer in the fight. I meant Ruler was taking no damage. They get the Baron. Problem is when they get the Baron, when they get the Baron this early, it doesn't mean that they can't get Elder and Baron. There might even be an argument to not. Well, no. Honestly, that's probably just overly safe. Like, just try to push lanes without the Baron, wait for Baron and Elder, and then get both again. But that's sort of that overlap. And you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to orchestrate a 1-1-3 to get that last inhibitor. Really good play by Spirit. Not really getting too much value. Now they are. Finally, Gangplank ultimate. Kramer takes a really big hit. Kuro forced to back up. And it's really obnoxious, this defense, this turtle. You know, Haru, I mean, he's no slouch either. They bring up QV. And now there's two inhibitors that they can't seem to coordinate and answer with. Oh, they finally get that one. Tushin almost goes down, forced to use his ultimate. They don't have the 7v5 enabled again. Mid inhibitor came up as well. So when you're looking at stuff like this, like they cast the Gangplank ultimate early, trying to shove them off the turret, right? And the other problem is you can't just have Kuro walk in and do something. I don't know why they're not escorting barrels, right? Like have them escort all the way up, and then Kramer's positioning should probably just be a little bit different. But you can just see it's very difficult to run into a Zoe and a Varus. You have to be very careful, especially because of Core JJ on that Braum. So that's what just happened. Very easy routes top. I love it. Doing a lot of work, slowing down the game. That's a beautiful move. Afreeca gets Elder Drake again. And this is all just like positional. Like we could pause and slow down everything and talk about the positioning of Afreeca. 3's easy routes actually proving to be quite a headache. 0-2-3 here is the best now to get that last inhibitor in mid. It's so difficult to get in. So difficult. They finally got in. Almost ended up getting Crown. They got the 7v5 yet again. Now they're going to back off and they're going to wait for Baron yet again. So now they're up some summoners on Crown. So they have another opening. They have a window. I honestly think that Kuro should probably just sell Merc Treads now at this point for Luden's Echo. I think that would probably just be the best. Selling that for Luden's Echo, I think would be probably the best, yeah. They have the Baron. Now let's see if they can thread the needle one more time. The inhibitors keep falling at different intervals, so it makes it quite obnoxious to maintain that 2 super minions per lane. So now they're doing it again. Oh, this one's 2-1-2, which, I mean, it's not the end of the world because they do have Baron. You can see they're trying to get that final inhibitor. Cannon minions doing work. Crown finally able to clear them out, slows down the push a little. This wave should get, no. And why Afreeca doesn't rotate the middle and bottom right half to the left sooner is a little bit beyond me. Getting those 2 minions spawning at the same time again, it's so important. And now they're just going to end up backing up again. Really unfortunate game state. They keep pushing waves in at different intervals, and it's just costing them. Okay, now they slowed it down a little bit. And look, now they're synchronizing it. It's like watching an escape room. They're finally in. Gangplank ult, yeah. Get the turret, auto the turret, Kramer. Kramer? Okay, they got the turret. Auto. Stop hitting QV. That's it. It's game. What? This is actually just so sad. Wow. Wow. Like, that's on Kramer. His auto attack choices leading up to that. See this? He continued to auto core JJ. Just get here and hit this. Shot a Q, shoots a W. What do you do? Hit the turret, demonetized. And Kramer just gets completely caught up. They all... I have no... Like, Tushin goes in. They ult Tushin. They could have just defended Kramer and gotten the turret. Use a defensive Galio ult, right? Alistar defensively, knock away anyone that tries to jump on him. And just have Spirit and co auto the... It's so strange. I don't even... What is he? I mean, these are just, everyone was on different pages. This is not a situation that you get in very often, but that was a very weird team fight. And it ends up resulting in Samsung pushing all the way through for the win. Oh, we're not even actually considering how, like, leading up to this, right? Leading up to this fight. Because you know that Kuro's just gonna ulti, after he shoves this in, why doesn't he just back up and teleport to the minion? Just lock up the turret. Cancel an ult if you need to. But just temporarily lock it up. Like, you're never using the teleports outside of this ever again. Keen as well. Bunch of mishaps. Alright, so that is it for game number 2.